You all knew I had to get one. What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Crazy for KVs. I'm Tim. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching. So I'm a little late to the party. I actually ordered the truck the day it was announced, and life just got in my way of doing the build, finishing it out, and getting a chance to drive it, shoot some video on it. So obviously you all saw in the thumbnail, this is a Vanquish VRD Carbon. I'm not gonna bore you all with a ton of the details. I'm mostly just gonna talk about the way I finished the truck out, some comments on the build, and what I think about it here on the bench, and then we're gonna go out and drive it. You all know I've got an infatuation with Vanquish trucks, parts, most of the things that they make. I just think they do a really good job. This was unintentional, wearing the shirt, but wasn't really in the need for another project. Definitely wasn't in the need for another truck. I actually had just finished an SCX-10 Pro when this was announced. It's kind of a cheater rig, no scale points, maximize, capability, and they released this unannounced, kind of unsuspecting. I didn't really think this was coming, and had to get it. Knew I had to get it to check it out, let you all know, but also obviously so I can enjoy it. But I want you all to leave a comment down below and let me know what you think is the next Vanquish truck coming. Is the next big one gonna be the Ripper 2, which there's a lot of rumors about, even some confirmation that it's being worked on, with them killing off the Ultra and the Pro? Is it gonna be another completely different platform, chassis, or is it gonna be a revamp of something they already have? We've definitely seen them push towards RTRs, but it was nice to see this come out in a slider kit. Kind of leave the things to the builders, let us decide, instead of putting RTR grade things in there. So anyways, the build went very, very well. For the most part, without a hiccup. The only hiccup I had was self-induced. Building these F9s, I built a handful of F9s, I think 5 or 6 different sets over the past year and a half probably. So I kind of misinterpreted the manual. So the manual actually was right, I was in the wrong. But long story short, where the ring gear is held in on the front third member, I actually inserted all 4 screws. I actually used the one that was longer. I think it was a 12 mil instead of a 10, and it was intended to go on after the servo mount. So I actually over inserted it into that plastic bearing retainer and kind of cracked it a little bit. I can buy the full plastic replacement set. Not too big of a deal. I've got replacement ring gears too. But that was the only issue I had during the entire build. How I finished it out with what came with the kit, I put 35 weight oil up front. I put 45 in the rear. It's a little bit lighter than what I would normally go with, but these trucks are lighter too. So for electronics, I actually went to Rock Jock RC. They were kind of having a closeout sale. They had a great deal on Three Brothers RC Outrunner motors, so I got a yellow jacket, 2500. That's a non-censored, capable of 3S Outrunner, and paired that up with a Exo RC Belay ESC using AM32 technology. It's one of their silent ESCs paired with an Outrunner. Wanted to try it out. Comes with the programmer. Thought it was a pretty good price. And the Crawlmaster Mini V3 was sold out at the time when this truck came out. So wanted to get something in so I could finish the truck when I had the time. For radio, running my FlySky Noble NB4. I really, really like this radio. I've never had an issue with it. Been at pretty big events with a lot of radios on. And on the Noble side, have never had a problem. I know some of the cheaper FlySky stuff people have had some issues with. For steering servo, I've been rocking a lot of NSDRC lately. They're quiet, they're powerful, they're strong. Loving direct power these days. So I went ahead and went with an RS 700 V2. On 3S, just shy of 1,000 ounce inches, but still plenty of power. You can get almost 1100 on 4S with this thing. So a very, very nice servo, and that is running, the servo on axle that this truck has. Kind of tidied up the wiring a little bit. Nothing too fancy. Everything's pretty minimal on this truck. Really didn't even have to use the sliders. I could have squeezed my radio in up here on this little mounting tray that goes between the front motor plate and the transmission or the transfer case, but went ahead and threw the radio on the slider. Other than that though, the only other thing that you have to do to finish this out is wheels, foams, tires, and a body, of course. These are actually the wheels, tires, foams, straight off of my Jekyll and Hyde, my Capra Carbon Works C2. Got that custom painted body, the Proline Coyote body by Curtis Knudson on Instagram. You guys can check him out. He'll be linked down below. Give him another shout out. Hooked me up with an awesome painted body, and really appreciative of that. But if y'all haven't seen that truck and that whole series, walking through a bunch of different comp builds, still ongoing, just kind of on a little pause right now, but I'll link that up here, that whole series. You guys can check that out, see that body, you know, in action for yourself. But yeah, these are J Concepts Tusks 4.75, Rock and Crawl Innovations dual stage, Lil Nova foams, soft up front, medium in the rear, and we got some Vanquish Method 101s. Pretty well used. They're not too beat up, they're just dirty mostly. Same with the tires. The last time I had the truck out, it was pretty wet and nasty out, so still some dirt falling off of them. I didn't clean it off too good, but the truck it'll be just fine, I think. You guys saw in the intro, this body's actually off of my original cliffhanger and my very first VS410. It was a VS410 chassis conversion from an SCX10. This body was sitting around. These sliders were kind of set up. The bumpers were kind of set up for a Proline cliffhanger. So that's what I wanted to use. Looking to probably get a fresh cliffhanger or a fresh Coyote body for this truck. Just kind of thinking about paint schemes, wheels, tires, things, how I want to finish the truck out. But was dying to get it out and run it for you all, and to find out for myself, you know, how well does Vanquish do the flat rail game. So just put a couple new sets of body mount holes. They didn't line up with the other ones. Not that big a deal. It's a Lexian body. But one thing I know that I'm gonna do when I do commit to the body, whatever it is, I'm gonna slam it down. Probably have the some of the chassis rail come through the body, and get it just sucked down as far as possible, because the truck does kind of look like it sits up high, but the links are flat. Everything is very low on the truck. The truck's got a great center of gravity. It's really planted. You can tell here on the bench. You can kind of flip it backwards pretty far. It'll kind of come back to you. Eventually it will roll over. They all will. But pretty impressive of how low they got everything. I use their alloy outer portal covers. Not quite as heavy as the brass, but does give it a pretty good bit of front bite, or at least front weight bias. Should give it a pretty good amount of front bite, but probably will look at doing brass, either the lower offset brass or the actual big heavy brass. I do have a set of those floating around still, and maybe some in the back, but we'll see. One of the issues you have with a truck being so light in the back is steep declines going down. It'll kind of want to endo. So you do need a little bit in the back to kind of balance it out. I'm going to throw this thing on the corner scales. You guys can check it out. And we're going to transition out to the lake. I'm going to hit the rocks and let y'all know what I think. Find out for myself, you know, is it as good as advertised? People are ranting and raving about it. So I'll see y'all out there. All right, y'all, we're out here at the lake. We're gonna do an initial run, kind of give my first impressions as I'm driving it of the Vanquish VRD Carbon. Running a 450 3S pack, tiny little guy. I already showed it to you on the bench. We got that Outrunner, the XORC, Belay ESC, the Three Brothers RC Yellow Jacket, Outrunner, NSDRC RS700, and a tiny little NSDRC BEC, just enough to power the receiver. So I'm gonna get the body thrown on, get the truck powered up, and we're gonna go see what I think about it. All right, y'all, we're gonna get right into it. I've got 6 gates set up. I use my Class 2 Jekyll and Hyde build by Capra Carbon Works. Kind of a truck, you know, just trying to get a lot of drive time with it. So I kind of use it as a standard. Set these gates. It walked through it fairly easily. I had to take a couple cracks at a few of them, but I did set the gates a little bit wider than what it would have needed. Very first drive. I know we got dirty tires and an old body, but VRD's on Maiden Voyage. We got really good low speed crawl. I mean, we can just creep along. Great gear ratio. We actually have the stock pinion on here. Wow, it did not even struggle with that. I don't think it even spun a tire. These are the exact same gates. If you guys haven't seen my, these are the exact same gates. If y'all haven't seen my first drive with the Redcat Ascent, a couple of electronics upgrades, did a little bit of weight savings on it. And it was the first time I drove it, and I took it through these exact same gates. So I'll link that down below if you're interested in checking that out. A little bit more budget-friendly option, but today's all about the Vanquish VRD, so enough about the Redcat. So gate 2, we're going to kind of approach. We have to get up on here, kind of ride this ledge, come over, and then there's a little bit of like a twist here. You need pretty good articulation. Some other trucks, you know, don't fare so well, and then you just got to straddle that crack. Gate's set pretty wide. Mostly just because the gate markers won't stay up on that left-hand wall. I'm loving this motor ESC combo. Haven't even tuned that belay ESC. I bought it. You kind of get it pre-tuned for 2500 kV, which is what this motor is. This is a truck that I didn't really need to kind of familiarize myself with, or at least I didn't think so. It, you know, I drive a lot of F10 portal trucks. I've got multiple, pretty used to it. Used to the VFD. This is an even lighter weight version. So it should just be even more planted than normal. You guys have seen my blue and orange C2 truck I took to ECC. That's a really capable truck. We're just gonna kind of hang that back driver tire. Just hung up in the air there. We just gotta get, I don't want to turn too hard. We gotta get our front passenger inside of those rocks there. Then we can kind of turn into it. Nope. Okay, I kind of screwed that up, so we're gonna try it again. A little bit more of a straightforward approach. Yeah, we'll be good now. You can see that front passenger's gonna hook. There it is. Easy. Very easy gate for a truck like this. Build went together really well on this. I screwed one thing up, but wasn't too big of a deal. Just putting the ring gear in the diff. Putting the ring gear in the axle, I just used too long of a screw and kind of cracked some of the plastic. I put it in there though because I'm curious as to how if it's solid enough that if it'll matter or not. But I've got spare gears, and the replacement plastic axle pieces, you know, is like $10 or so. So just pay attention, make sure you measure. I made an assumption, and ultimately it cost me a broken part. But man, I'm really happy with this thing so far. Very early on, but we've got a local series here in Georgia that's kind of just running like cheater rig rules. Look at that steering radius. Just absolutely turns so sharp. And that local, I'd kind of built out my orange and blue truck, took a lot of all the, you know, scale points out of it and built it out to be, you know, kind of the ultimate cheater rig. But Vanquish announced this and I just had to try it out. You guys know I love Love the stuff they do. American company. You know, obviously the truck's not made in America, but they are made in Taiwan. So great front bias. We should be able to make this climb. Just gotta work that driver front. I just set this gate on a very steep part on purpose because I wanted to see, you know, if anything could climb the stuff the Jekyll and Hyde climbs, and the VRD can. Pretty impressive. Need a pretty good brake over there, good front bias, and a nice planted truck. So we're gonna move on. Okay, we're here at gate 4, which is pretty easy. This is kind of this big V with a vertical right-hand side that kind of pushes you over to this left-hand gate. So you just gotta, you know, you can't have too top heavy of a truck because it'll kind of roll left or get pushed over to the gate, become somewhat unpredictable. So I expect no issues. Don't let me down. Using those sliders, you can hear that aluminum scraping against the rocks. This is kind of a good width body and slider, you know, ratio. The sliders help keep the rocks off the back tires, or at least getting too far inside where they get bound up. That's gate 4. That was easy. We might have to find some more challenging lines to hit with this. It is a small little battery, so we're kind of limited on our run time today. I mean, that's a 2500 kV uncensored outrunner, and look at that. That's full speed. No camera tricks here. Just absolutely crawling. I can go even slower, actually. No cogging. Plenty of power. I should have pretty decent wheel speed. I haven't tested it, but it's no surprise to me that, you know, when Vanquish, you know, it took them almost 2 years of development to get this out. They wanted to get it right. It's kind of a shame it didn't come out when the SCX10 Pro came out. I just think it would have been really cool to kind of see them go head to head as people were getting used to them. The Pro's been doing really, really well. I have one. Y'all haven't seen it yet, I don't think. Maybe on a live stream. But I like it. It drives really well. Drove it one day, but I drove it a lot in one day. We just walked that. Didn't spin a tire. Let's see if we can get out of here without needing any resets. We got a pretty big side hill. Nope. That's all right. That's a tricky transition. And I honestly don't even know if my Jekyll and Hyde did it. I don't expect there to be any problems with this, but getting in here can be the issue. So we're just climbing up this V here, trying some different stuff, some lines I've never ran before. I'm kind of straddling that. There we go. Love that they came with weight for the front axles. You know, portal covers. They're not as heavy as the brass, but the fact that it was included was a really nice touch. And honestly, for the price point, you get a lot of bang for your buck. See that overdrive working. My Artful Dodgers truck might be getting sidelined for the cheetah rig comp series we got going on. Next one's December 9th, so looking forward to that. I haven't been able to make it to one yet, but want to make sure I got a truck ready. And I need to commit to which one I'm going to run and start getting some good practice in with it, because it is a cash comp, so I want to potentially win. Okay, we're going to try to climb this. We're going to see if we can get up on top of it. There's no good way to get off of it, so I'll just grab the truck when I get up there. But this is kind of a, very few trucks are able to do this. The SCX10 Pro can do it. Marvel Dodgers, I think, has been able to do it a few times. You can see you're just kind of getting that front to bite, and you need really good steering angle. So that's one of the limiting factors. Oh, all right. GoPro battery's running low. Truck battery's probably doesn't have much left in it, so we're gonna try to climb this here, and then we're gonna wrap this up. Really like this though. Man, they absolutely nailed it. Carbon fiber chassis rails included, weights for the front nut, portal covers. Price point, very competitive. Really, the only competitor is the SCX10 Pro, and I think they're basically the same price. And I think you actually get a little bit more features with this. I'm a big fan of portals too, so I hope you guys can appreciate what this thing is doing right now. For a kit that you can buy, you don't have to do any figuring. This is just unreal. Just the way, you throw some nice electronics in here. To be honest, the electronics, I've spent a lot more on electronics and been less pleased. Oh, there we go. See, we got that back passenger hooked on that ledge. We're up. We are up here. Let's see if we can make it down. Not too worried about the body. Not too worried about the durability of the truck. Biggest risk on a day like this, I think, is this does have the harder rod ends on it, and it's pretty chilly out here, so if you take a hard hit, you might break a rod end, but not too big of a deal. Wow, just absolutely planted. You ever doing this, you got to be ready to gas it at the end though, because that back end's going to get light right now. There it is. I'm having too much fun. Let's go up the other way. Let's see if we can get down the way we came up. You guys will see this is an uncut, raw. Let's change our approach here. This is a raw, one shot. Just gotta get it started. There it is. Passenger front working, doing most of the work right now. But the truck's just so planted, predictable. I have less than 10 minutes of drive time on this, and it's doing things that I'm not sure any other truck I have will. I'll be honest, feeling kind of silly for the money I spent on that Jekyll and Hyde. Let's see if we can manage to traverse this. Truck had a big rollover. I probably didn't have the best, approach as I'm coming off of that. So we're going to try this one more time. I got to get back up there though. I got to earn it. These J Concepts tusks are just absolutely eaten. Yeah, like I was saying, you start to feel a little silly for money you spend on custom rigs. You know, building is fun. I'm not saying it's going to be for sale, but this thing is just an absolute mountain goat. Getting off of this may not even be doable, to be honest, without four-wheel steer. Yeah, I think we're going to have some. All right, y'all, that's going to wrap it up. First drive on the Vanquish VRD Carbon. I got to say, I'm absolutely impressed. No one, is asking me to say this. I'm definitely way too small for Vanquish to be sending me anything anyway. Paid for this with my own money. I paid for everything I have from Vanquish with my own money. Really, I don't think I've had a product from them that's let me down. The original RTR tires, the VXTs, the originals, I will say, kind of a letdown. But that's neither here nor there. This truck doesn't come with those. This is a slider kit. You got to supply your own wheels, foams, tires, electronics, body. But what you get is a very, very capable platform. It's a great transmission. It's got great gear ratio. Low speed crawlability is just insane. To be honest, you could go with a even smaller pinion gear if you just wanted absolute finest low speed resolution. Basically, you're at the mercy of your motor with this gearing. And you guys saw in the video, it will crawl really, really slow, really controlled, and plenty of power doing that. Now, the power and stuff that's coming from the motor, the ESC, but without a good gear ratio, none of that's possible. Good bit of overdrive, great steering angles, so you get super tight turning radius. The suspension geometry seems dialed. Like I said, I've spent a lot more money on trucks that won't do the things that this will do right out of the box. Who knows, where it can go from there. I do know they're coming out with the stubby transmission kit and a behind the axle servo mount. Get that center of gravity even lower. Those raw 500, raw 800 brass from Reefs. Maybe that's when those servos really come in, get that even more front bias weight and get it basically even with the axles with it, which is, exactly where you want it. But anyways, enough rambling. Really like the truck. I might even charge a battery out here, run another pack off camera because it's just an absolute dream to drive. It's quiet, performs well, goes where you point it, and does exactly what you think it's going to do. But that's going to wrap this one up. I appreciate each and every one of you. I want to wish you all happy holidays as we enter the holiday season. If you got a little bit extra money, treat yourself to something. Maybe it's an upgrade part. Maybe it's a new car. Maybe it's tools. And if you don't, that's okay too. These trucks that are new coming out, they're going to be there. Save your money, pay your bills, feed your kids, feed your family, take care of yourself, and treat yourself when you can. But I appreciate each and every one of you. I will see you next time. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned for more. Peace.